For my mom.
They took the glue away from me. I don't know why.
And you know, there's another great thing that ended up happening because they were a band of four guys. Any kind of style that they played, it always sounded like the same four guys doing it, whether it was country, rock, no matter what it was, or the soul stuff. Sometimes I think about if the influence were done different. It's tough to take a Beatles song and to cover it and make it be even close to being better than what they already did.
It's tough to make it get close to almost as good.
I know, but sometimes, you know, I look at some of the obscure stuff that I love. If you imagine, when I wake up early in the morning, stay in bed, I'm still yawning, I'm in the middle of a dream. Lift my head, float upstream. Please don't wake me now, don't shake me, leave me where I am, I'm only sleeping. Keep it out of my window, taking my time, lying in the ceiling, waiting for. Okay, everybody sing it back your guitar now. Please don't wake me now, don't shake me, leave me where I am, I'm only sleeping. I knew what they were making us
But you know, the backwards guitar is two guitars. It's not one guitar. It's two. If you actually turn it around and listen to it, you can hear there's two guitars. So it's probably John and George.
And George, probably.
Because they usually double it up.
I mean, that's the other thing that they did. They brought some music, which, remember, it was just being invented then. So backwards guitars and putting a guitar through a Leslie organ. It was like the first time we were hearing this stuff, and they were the guys that brought it to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that was the other thing, was the influence of the technology, that they embraced the recording studio as part of the art of it. You know, because, I mean, typically, you know, when you had singers that would walk into a studio, like Frank Sinatra would walk into Capitol, and there would be Nelson Riddle conducting an orchestra, and, you know, they would have the rhythm section and the piano player, and it would be, you know, that was the old school way of doing it. And a lot of the Hollywood records, you know, the stuff that was done in LA, the hits were done, you know, with the Wrecking Crew, and it was pretty much, you know, a bunch of musicians, and if you needed more piano on the chorus, you brought in another piano player.
Yeah,
you know,
you just did it.
You didn't overdub. I mean, there were, you know, a lot of the early stuff was done on 2-track or, you know, but certainly, I mean, 4-track was a big new invention.
Absolutely. And also the beauty about the Beatles, and George Martin actually said this in an interview, that at one point, he started watching them sonically. You know, and Ringo told me a story before that one time he was in the studio with John, and George Martin had to go out for a spot of tea or something, and as soon as he left, John started screwing with the knobs. and usually that's for an engineer, it's like 5K above your 9,000 millimeters. And John didn't have a clue, so he's just like turning knobs like crazy. And then George Martin comes back in and he goes, Lennon. He heard the cello sound. But that ended up being the thing that developed them into having this new sound. And not to digress, but when I was doing the Vertical Man album with Ringo, George Martin did a string arrangement. And I'm producing the record, but I'm in there with maybe the greatest producer ever. And the strings were there, and everybody's really happy. But there was this one, you know, I'm the king of broken hearts, and there's this cello line that didn't sound right. And George Martin like looked at me over his glasses, and he's such a gentleman. Mark, you look rather befuddled. Stymied. Is everything all right? And I was scared on my mind, but I went, well, I I was hoping that the cellos would kind of sound more like, I mean, I was thinking that maybe the cellos could be more like, and over his glasses he went, walrusy? And they went, yeah, walrusy! And he went out and changed the microphones, and as soon as he changed the mic position, there it was.
You probably put the mic right up against the cello.
He did.
That's what Jay
Remember, it's like you feel more of the rosin of the bow.
Yeah.
And that was what they started bringing.
But you know, it's interesting how sometimes, you know, it's the studio technique that does it, but other times, I remember doing sessions with Carol Kay, who was the Wrecking Crew bass player, one of the great, all-time great bass players. She's on Pet Sounds, you know, so she was one of Paul's influences, along with James Jamerson, who played on all the Motown records. And Carol Kay, her bass doesn't have to be plugged in. She'll pick a note, and it sounds exactly like the beginning of California Girls.
Wow.
And they did nothing to her sound. She plugged her bass in, they did nothing to it, and that was the sound that was on the record.
Good,
How she played.
good vibrations was like one
Yeah,
of
the
those
same kind of thing. But what's interesting is that she was a guitar player. She actually played rhythm guitar on La Bamba, for example.
Yeah.
And the way that she picks is very much like the way Paul picks, because Paul didn't start off like as an upright bass player or, you know, a dynamic bass player. He was a guitar player. So he also plays bass like a guitar player does. And it's that kind of cross-fertilization that you get of a particular technique or a particular approach, but doing a different role. And it creates something unique.
That's so, you see, and this is the stuff that even we're learning by being here with each other and hearing this for the first time.
We got to wrap it up.
What? My cousin, Joey Bag of Donuts. Good guy? You know. You gotta be okay with it.
What can we finish up with?
One with extra sauce,
We don't
please.
have a capo, so
Oh, you
we can take it.
do it lower.
You want to do it in G?
You do pick whatever key you're
Or
having.
whatever key you're singing.
I can sing in any key. I have no testicles left. If I just overshare, I'm sorry. We'll do something sing so we can all sing. And just, you know, after this, you guys, we're going to be out there signing stuff. You can come and yell at us and say how bad we were. We'll all be out there doing stuff.
You're not bad at all.
Thank you, Mom.
Can I say one thing? We were shooting for not bad, so thank you.
What key Yellow Submarine? D, yeah.
In the town where I was born, lived a man, 17, and he told us of his life in the land of submarine. So we sailed out to the sun till we found the sea of green, and we lived beneath the waves in our yellow
Maybe outside, you want to yell.